Wait, 7:02. So I'm gonna try this. Let's see. Is this working? Great. Hey, welcome to YachtCon V homecoming. I love to set this crowd very, very promptly arriving. Closer? Is this better? Yeah. All right. Well, as you can see, this is the fifth version of this event that we're doing. I'm Jeremiah O'Shan. Joining me on stage right now is Lickett, and Aaron is here somewhere as well. And this is a No Sun Yet This Sounder Heart production right at the Valkyries. We are going to be putting on hopefully a pretty good show for you guys. We have a great lineup of guests here. And before I get started, though, I wanted to go through a few things. As the name implies, it's the fifth year of us doing this event. In the past four, we've raised somewhere around $20,000 for various Seattle children's departments. As we have in the last couple of years, we're raising money for the Autism Center this year. I really recommend that you go check out the whole kind of operation that they have over here. The money that we've been able to raise goes directly to these big red boxes that go to families with children with autism, and it helps them out. So it has a direct impact on that stuff. This year, which is new, Sounder Heart and SB Nation are actually covering our expenses this year, so this is a huge debt of gratitude to them. It's going to hopefully help us reach a $10,000 goal, which is obviously something that you guys are playing a big part of. And the way we're doing that, as usual, is we are going to have this silent auction. You can see all the items up there. If you see something you like, just put your name down and bid. And at 9 o'clock, basically before the Garden Flagaway segment starts, we're going to announce the winners and give you about an hour to get settled up and pay your stuff and walk away with your items. So one of the things that I think is pretty amazing about this event is that it's all volunteer hours. Everyone that's I'm volunteering, Lickett's volunteering. There's probably 20 or 30 different volunteers that are helping us do this whole thing. Pretty amazing. And so if you get a chance to thank one of them, say thank you. So one of the things I wanted to talk also about was this particular charity. The way it got started was my wife works at Seattle Children's. We started out doing it for the PBMU there, and over time we kind of just realized that the Autism Center was a way that we could have a direct impact on stuff going on at Seattle Children's, and so it's kind of blossomed into this. And one of the things that we're offering this year is you can basically buy a big red box for $25 that you can make the donation directly to Seattle Children's. There's a link that they have there that will take you directly there. Anyway, that's one of the ways that we're raising money. The other way that we're raising money at the auction is we're having a 50-50 raffle. If you basically Kelly here. And so the raffle tickets are a buck a piece. At the end of the night, we will draw a name to win that, and then you split the pot with children, essentially.
Draw a number. Your names are not on.
Oh, yes. Keep your ticket. Yes, keep your ticket. Let's see here. Got a couple. Hopefully you also saw the photo booth that we set up. It's in the back, over to the left when you walk in, or I guess it would be to the right when you walk in, but it's over here. The two MLS cups are there, the Cascadia Cup, and I'm told Sammy the Sounder is maybe not here right now, but he's eventually going to be here, so lots of photo opportunities to get out there to take photos. So finally, the last thing I'm asking of you guys is we are doing several different panels And there's going to be opportunities for you to submit questions. One of probably the most fun one is Will Bruin and Brad Evans are going to be doing a special live edition of Dear Will Bruin, in which they give you advice on various life dilemmas. But we're also taking questions for the rain panel, and I think we're going to be taking questions for Garth as well. So there's cards that you can fill out to do that.
Also, they can come up.
Huh?
They can also come up.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, and so with all that said, I wanted to bring Brian Schmetzer. So I had a whole intro that I just totally botched. But two-time MLS Cup winner, two-time USL winner, and a CISL winner as well as an assistant. I think he won a few more indoor titles. Is that right, with the San Diego Sockers? And of course a Lake City Hawk legend.
Oh, look at this, moving around on the stage, right? All right. Well, so Brian, thank you for doing this.
You're welcome.
I know you are not feeling particularly well, and so the fact that you are here is yet another testament to your commitment to this fan base, and it is really amazing.
What did you say? I was fighting something?
I said you were fighting something. Are you not fighting something?
Well, I mean, look, I know some of you readers and commenters on your Sounder at Heart blog might think that I fight with Harry sometimes about putting him on the lineup sheet. But what I am fighting is Harry Ships. He was like sick down in Mexico and Honduras. I mean, he had the flu, influenza, and then it got into his lungs. He's questionable for tomorrow or Thursday. He's questionable. He was at training today, and he goes, "Coach, I feel pretty good, but I feel like I had just smoked a pack of cigarettes." So he's trying to get over that, but he's a tough kid, so I think he'll come around. But I'm blaming Harry for my little sickness, but I'm always happy to be here, happy to be part of the gang. I do have my ECS shirt on.
So, I guess we'll just start since you bring it up. How was Mexico? How was Honduras?
Great. Mexico was great. Look, I have a really talented staff, but having Gonzo on the staff and having him open doors for us down there at the Mexican national team training facility was fantastic. It's obviously a big deal because it's the Mexican national team. They laid out the red carpet for us, laid out the red carpet for Gonzo. I mean, we got to train on beautiful fields, we got fed well, there was dormitories with foosball tables, ping pong tables, stuff for the guys to do. It was secluded. It was out there a ways, so some of the guys got a little stir crazy, but it was good. It was concentration. It was perfect for what we needed.
So were you able to get into town and like enjoy?
We did on a couple occasions. We went out to a couple dinners. Gonzo took us to a good steakhouse and then another restaurant in a mall, in a fancy mall. Our highlight was one of the trips to the pyramids. I mean, that was pretty cool. I mean, you guys probably all saw the guys posting things. It's quite a hike. It's quite steep. There are no safety OSHA rules, like, the handrail is just a piece of plastic. So if you go tumbling down those stairs, or you're going down a long ways.
And we saw Javier and Jamar helping a random person up or down the stairs, I suppose. Which
it was
kind of
down
a cool
the stairs,
moment.
but again, it's one of those great moments that all of you that have kids. I mean, you want your children to be nice citizens and nice people and all that, and Jamar and Javi fit that bill to a T.
Well, let's go back to another good memory of yours, I'm sure. MLS Cup. 2019. And we may as well start with a build up to it. I think and I feel like you've articulated this before, but that there was a dilemma I think that you faced in leaning into the pressure of hosting MLS Cup in front of 70,000 fans. Really the first time that a Seattle team had hosted a big championship like that in forever.
It was new.
And like trying to wall it off as if it was just kind of another game. And it seemed like you leaned into that. Do you feel like you ended up balancing that challenge well?
Well, I think I've said this before publicly. If I didn't, I apologize. But I don't think we did the best job meshing our players because they played tight for the first 60 minutes. So whatever I tried to do, and here's the big if and when and learning curve for a coach. I mean, we could totally play the underdog against LAFC. I mean, we went in there and said, what do we got to lose? We're going to play with them. We're as good as them. We can do this. It was very simple, very easy messaging for the group. Then when we knew we were going to host, then that was a little more challenging. And there was a divided coaches room. Some of them said, no, you shouldn't even address it. Some said, yeah, you can do this. And other people over here. I decided to take kind of a middle ground. I wanted to address something just about how they might feel when the game kicks off. It's normal to have butterflies. If you're not, you're dead. Simple stuff like that. But I think the players were tight. I think they were very tight. And it was just that moment when Kelvin pulls that shot, or Raul the pass, whatever it was. You guys not stopping to believe. I mean, you guys kept us going. Once that goal came, it took everything away, and then makes us coaches look pretty good.
And so when you walk out onto the field and you've probably imagined it in your mind's eye a million times. How did it compare to, or were you even taking it in at that point?
Well, Tommy Dieter and I have our little routine, so we're big on routines. We're not superstitious. We just have routines. So Tommy and I like to go out, and he likes to walk out with me. We have our cup of coffee in our hand, and we like to turn around and, sometimes on a Sunday afternoon game at noon, we say, God, there's a lot of people out on the water today, or, what's going on, or late arriving crowd on a Thursday night or Wednesday night. And we just talk. And when Tommy and I walked out onto the field, we didn't have to say anything. We were just like going, oh my God, this is like the greatest thing that we've ever seen. So it was a pretty cool moment, pretty special moment to share between a good friend of mine. And it was really a super, super cool moment.
So there's this picture, and it's actually one of the auction items actually is captured this moment of you standing away from you're off the stage and you're watching the players celebrate. Was that something that you, and I don't feel like that's an image that we see a lot of times of coaches like not wanting to be or removing themselves from the stage and kind of taking it in and almost being a fan in that way. I mean, I guess what was your thought process behind that? Was it conscious to do that?
It's conscious. Here's the way I always say it. I say, look, when the team does well, the players get the accolades. They're the ones that do the hard work. When the team doesn't do well, we as coaches have to take responsibility to give them the tools to be successful. That's just the way I am. That was their moment. It wasn't my moment. It was their moment. They're the ones that put all the effort, all the work in, all season long through adversity. Victor, what a great storyline that was. Roman coming back. It was their moment, and I like them to celebrate it on their own. I mean, sure, I was part of the celebration in the locker room, and we had some good times, and there was some funny stories back there, and obviously our coaches, we were very excited. But I just think for me personally, that is a moment for the players who have done the hard work, all of them. I enjoyed that everybody on the roster was up on that stage, and for me, that's just the way it should be.
I think there's this challenge in sports, especially, of not resting on your laurels, not really allowing yourself to fully celebrate a moment like that, because you immediately turn the page and look at 2020. But did you make a conscious effort to give yourself some time to actually feel like you got to the mountaintop?
It wasn't as bad as 2016-17 when the very next morning after we were celebrating in Toronto, we had to, get rid of a bunch of guys. That was a really stupid, fucked up MLS rule. I mean, it was stupid. I mean, that kind of pissed us off because we had to sit there, and of course, guys are going to be grumpy if you say, "Well, you're protected and you're not your option." That was bad. So this year, Jeremiah, and to everybody out there, I think I reflected on the moment. I certainly enjoyed the moment when we were there, but I don't know if we'll ever. Maybe 10 years from now, I don't know, when I'm retired and sitting here co-hosting with you or something.
I like that idea.
Then maybe I can give you more depth to my thoughts at that moment. But it was a special event. I didn't go into training mode or coaching mode or whatever. I actually kind of let myself go for the couple of days. I wanted to enjoy the parade. I wanted to enjoy my family. My 2 grandbabies were up. I had a baby daughter. My daughter had my granddaughter. And my wife's son had a grandson. And so both of my grandbabies were there at the game. And so that was a big deal to me, having my family around and witnessing that spectacle. It was tremendous for me.
So I wanted to...
Okay, but so after we went to the after-game party down at the hotel there and everything, and look, I was mentally trashed. I was like exhausted. I was just like, oh my God, I'm tired. But we had to make a speech, and we had the trophies, and the office staff, and some of you fans were in the room. And then I told my wife, Christine, I said, I gotta go. I gotta go. I had my buddies that were there from junior high, and they were all, yeah, Brian, let's party, like this. I was like, I am so tired. I just have to go home. So Christina and I drive home, and there are all our adult children, all 6 of them, plus their friends, all drinking beer in my kitchen.
I mean, just like the old days.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, hey.
So one of the things I think that makes your story so interesting is not just the local boy makes good, but it's also a story of a person who played and coached at virtually every level of American soccer. And that's indoor, that's outdoor, that's leagues that have gone defunct, that's leagues that are still going. Mm-hmm. But what kind of perspective do you think that gives you of this whole thing that we're going through right now? That maybe a lot of the players who maybe either come from Europe or came up through MLS when MLS was always a thing.
Perspective or life lessons. I mean, I'd probably be pretty good on Survivor or some show like that.
Right.
I mean, the perspective I would say is that, I'm old enough to have seen the good times and the bad times of both the NASL and MLS. I think I'm blessed in that sense. There was a lot of people that take credit for keeping soccer alive and stuff like that. You guys are going to hear from the Rain people, Bill, and what he's doing down in Tacoma and all that. I mean, they got to just go through some of those growing pains as well. I think soccer is obviously here to stay. There was so many of, my dad coming over, and he was into soccer, playing soccer. We all watched Soccer Made in Germany way back when on PBS. I mean, I've seen pretty much everything, and I just knock on wood, I feel blessed, and I think that this area, this community is always going to support soccer. And, there's just a lot of, growth in our sport now. I mean, it's really taken off, and I would tell all the people in Europe and guys in Argentina that come up here, I'd say you're lucky. I was talking to Jorge, our new video guy. He came from Spain, and he was working in England at Leeds United, and he was like, oh man, the weather's really nice. He's not a Leeds fan. I think Alex Caulfield is a Leeds fan.
He is a little bit of one, yeah.
Anyway, so Jorge was like amazed by the weather for the last 2 days, and I'm like going, just wait till like May, June, July, August, September, October, global warming. I mean, we're gonna have 7 months of summer in Seattle. It's gonna be great.
So one of the eras of one of the things I think that in generally makes the Seattle soccer scene so vibrant is that there was never really a dark period from the 70s up until now. There was always something going on here. Yeah. And a big part of that, or maybe not a big part of it, no, I would say a big part of it, was the whole indoor scene, whether it was in Tacoma or it was
lights out in Tacoma.
In the CISL. I mean, how important do you think the indoor game was to kind of developing soccer as a spectator sport in the Pacific Northwest?
Yeah, I think it kept it alive. I mean, I remember going to the Tacoma Dome when I was living in San Diego, and there was 20,000 people in the Tacoma Dome watching indoor soccer. It was pretty crazy. So I think it was just another storyline of just keeping pro soccer here. And they're still doing it. I mean, Darren Sawatsky had the team down in Kent, and I know there's other satellite leagues even one step lower, and the Stars do a good job, and Bellingham United. There you go. Right on, brother. So indoor soccer has been popular. Obviously, my father and Pepe Fernandez had an indoor soccer rink up in Everett. So it's been good to keep people playing soccer and then keep people watching soccer.
So you won a title with Seattle in the CISL, right? In 1997, is that correct?
You got a better memory than I do.
Okay, well, I just looked it up, so.
Those days were hazy.
What was that? I mean, I would imagine
marijuana was illegal then.
I mean, what was that league like? I mean, it was a short-lived league.
Pot smokers.
Was it really?
John Perdaman would kill me if I said his name. None of you guys know John Perdaman, do you? God, I hope not. Anyway, no, look, indoor soccer was great. The Sea Dogs were great. I love talking about, people, friends. Fernando Clavillo, who recently passed, who we miss him very dearly. He made a statement, a pretty bold statement when he got the job for the Sea Dogs. He says, "I'm going to win a championship within 3 years." And the first year we sucked. The second year we sucked a little less. And then that third year, everything came together, and we just were lights out. We were super, super good, and we kind of rolled through the regular season, and then we went into the playoffs, and look, CISL was pretty bare bones, right? I mean, we actually had guys on the roster that got paid $75 a game only if they played. If they didn't step on the field, then they wouldn't get paid. So they were basically, playing for fun, really. And we tried to get them odd jobs. I got a couple of Sea Dog stories if you guys can.
We got time.
Okay. So in my construction days, me and Dick McCormick, who was also on the Sea Dogs, we had our little construction business going at the time, and so the guys who were making $75 a game, they needed extra work, and so we were in the construction business. We'd get them odd jobs and stuff like that, and we were doing some roofing, and we had this pretty cool idea. We had a Chevy Suburban, and it had passenger plates. So when you went to the dump down here on 45th, you only got paid, you had charged $8.50 to take all the roofing material in for the dump instead of $60 or $75 at the time to dump all the roofing material. And so this Suburban was like our lifeblood. And so we had a couple players that were driving the Suburban one day, and it broke down underneath the convention center. And so I was QC, I was quality control, so they called me up and they go, "Hey, Schmetzer, the truck's broken." And I go, "Okay, well, you guys sit tight, just relax, I'll come and get you guys." And so they said, "Okay, we'll meet you on the corner of whatever 7th and Pine." And one of them had a dog. I'm not going to name any names, but I rolled up in my truck, and there they were sitting covered in just dirt and soot and everything, and they had their dog with them. And I picked them off the street, and when they entered the car, these professional soccer players told me, they said, "God, thank God you're here, because people were walking by trying to give us money." And I was ashamed that we made these pro soccer players actually work for a living. Better story.
Are you saying that Raul Ruiz and Obafemi Martins and Clint Dempsey and these weren't doing
I
this
was
stuff?
talking about Danny Laver and Walla or Sam Rogers. Can you imagine Big Sam Rogers up on a roof somewhere trying to take off roofing material? No, I can't. But it was bare bones. So here's a good story on a positive note. So Sonic, the Sonics, Sea Dogs were owned by the Sonics people, and it was Full House Sports Entertainment, and so they let us use their jet, the Sonics jet, on the way down to Houston. So it was a home-and-home series. So we played in Seattle on a Saturday night at like 7 o'clock, and then we were playing at 6 o'clock in Houston the very next night. And so sure enough, we won the first game, but it was tight. It was tight. It was like 6-5 or something like that. And we go right after the game, and we take off on the jet, and we fly into Houston, and we get into our hotel room at about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and we're going to sleep all afternoon, and we have to play at 6 o'clock. They had to fly commercial. And so they had to get like a red-eye flight that landed at 6 or 7 in the morning, and then they had to get their bags and their back. And so they were trashed the next day, and we beat them 6-1. It wasn't even like... So charter flights, there you go. That's what they... Is that Brad or Harry out there or someone? So anyway, so we were on our way back from the championship game in Houston, and we were driving through, and we weren't at Houston Intercontinental, we were at Houston Hobby, which is down in kind of a not so nice. And John Drasel, who was the president of Full House Sports Entertainment, and Bill, and Ted and Chris, the Ackerleys, they were all on the plane. And so we're driving to this airport, and all of a sudden there's like an AM/PM mini mart, and we're like going, hey, can we stop and get some beer? Can we get some beer from the plane back? And they're like going, hey, sure, yeah, no problem, let's go. John was all really on top of it. So we pull over. Again, the Ackerleys and John Drasel are in the AM/PM buying us indoor soccer players beer. So all of a sudden, we're kind of talking, we're celebrating, whatever, but it's kind of taking a long time, and we're looking through the bus, and we're kind of looking through the window and going, hey, what's going on? And there's Bill Ackerley, who's a multi-millionaire. He's like going like this, and he's arguing with the guy, and he's going like this, and there's some commotion in the store. John Drasel comes back on the bus and goes, hey guys, anybody got any cash? Because Bill's credit card didn't work in the card reader. And so he couldn't buy us beer because his card was broke. But it wasn't his card, it was a card reader. We picked up some cash and we got beer and we flew home, and it was a great story. Just another one of the many, many things that'll be in the book.
Well, I feel like I had a whole thing that I wanted to get into with, but that seems like such a good story to end on.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate you coming out here. I wish you the best of luck on Thursday, and
Thank you. Thank you.
So hopefully we have a few more Champions League games to talk about after that one, and then of course Sunday.
I'll be pissed.
All right.
Of course you will. Of course you will.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you again to Brian for doing that. Coming up in a couple minutes, we're going to do the rain panel, which, if you may or may not know, is made up of Bill Predmore, Jess Fishlock, and Bethany Balser, the reigning NWSL Rookie of the Year. and then later on, and then after that, we're gonna hopefully have a little. We're gonna revive the game that we played last year, if you remember that. I think we have talked Jess and Bethany into facing off with Brad Evans and Will Bruin, assuming we can all get them into the same place at the same time. So fingers crossed on that one. And then, of course, we're going to have Brad and Will come up here and do an advice panel for you all. But before we do that, I want to remind everyone that we have the silent auction going on over here to the left. Kelly is selling 50-50 raffle tickets. And we're raising money for the Seattle Children's Autism Center. If you want to hear from them, they are right over there. And we can leave it with that. So with all that said, I wanted to welcome onto the stage Jacob Cristobal, who is going to be from Ride of the Valkyries, who is going to be moderating this panel. Bill Predmore, Jess Fishlock, and Bethany Balser.